Yo, what's good everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my strategy on how you can make anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a day trading meme coins. Now, $500 to $1,000 might sound like a crazy amount, making $500 a day, $1,000 a day, right? That could replace your job. Now, the main thing, it doesn't matter whether you're trading with $50, $100, $1,000, $2,000. The biggest thing is about consistency. You don't just need to be trading consistently, but the main thing is staying consistent with everything, whether that's your trading style, your trading strategy, and staying disciplined. These are the super important things. These are the non-negotiables when you're trading. You need to have a solid strategy that's not flippity floppity, right? Whether you're trading final stretch and flopping back into a different strategy. Now, when you get better and better and better, then you can start to adapt to multiple strategies, right? You could have like a sword and a pickaxe and be doing two things at once, right? But if you're just starting, you need to have a strategy that is proven to work, right? Not just one that people are trying to sell you, one that actually works, and one that is consistent, because you don't want a strategy that just works 1% of the time. Now, there's different percentages, right? Now we can go to like my Axiom and we can look at my win rate. That looks like around 55 to 60%. I mean, I don't think it shows the exact percentage, but you can see it's obviously a little bit more green than red. Some really good traders, their win percentage is way more red than green. But when they win, they're getting crazy wins. For me, it's more important to get stacking on small wins, right? Whether that's scalping for 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 SOL, right? If you can just scalp 40%, 40%, 40%, 40%, 20%, 30%, right? All of these little scalps are gonna add up like crazy. Now, some days might be really bad. If we look at the trenches right now, if we look at the hourly volume's down around 8%. So trenches are not at the best right now. The truth is, with this strategy, you can make money no matter how the market is. I was making money when SOL was at like nuked all the way down to $100, $90, and made money when SOL was at $300, right? I was trenching on Axiom, on Bullex, on all these different platforms, Photon that we had before, and using the same strategy. Now, the truth is, with anything in investing, things are changing. You need to adapt. Something that was working today might not work something that was working today might not work tomorrow. What's working, a week from now might not work in a month from now. Things are always changing. Market conditions are always changing, and the market is always moving forward. It's never going back. So you need to be adapting to the market. This strategy has changed in very, minute amounts, but in the general purpose, it has stayed the same. So I'm going to break down my strategy, and so let's get started. Now, the first thing in this strategy is you're going to need to find the right coins in order to, use your strategy, in order to trade, basically. Now, these can't be coins that are ultra crazy coins or insanely high volume, because those ones are super sketchy, because you could be, let's say a coin's at 100K, crazy high volume, you push buy, it shoots up to 200K, and then the next second it shoots back down to 100K, right? And you're down 50%. So you need to find something that's consistent. And this is where it's tricky, right? If you're going to be sitting on new pairs all day and going off of Twitter tracker plays, it's a little bit more risky, because you're going to be versing, it's super competitive. You're going to be versing, Cupsy, Good Trencher, all these people, right? Red, just a lot of these KOLs and people that do this for like a living, right? They're actual tryhards at this. So you're going to be clicking buy, you're going to click buy right after they do, and then you're just going to get farmed all day. So you can get farmed on anything, whether it's on final stretch, on migrated. Doesn't even have to be meme coins. It could be futures, right? You need to analyze where you can get your advantage from. Now, we're going to look at coins that have real charts, real holders, real volume, and I'm going to show you how to check that out. So you're going to go to the holders, and first thing, you're going to probably want to look at bubble maps. So bubble maps is going to do a decent job at trying to find people that are bundling and clusters of people that send money to different wallets in order to make it seem like they're not holding that much. Now this coin, the chart looks super weird from the start, and it probably is a little bit bundled. A lot of these devs have been cleaning out their wallets or cleaning out the wallets that they send to, so it's harder to track on bubble maps. But you can also use bubble maps hand in hand with, for example, like the bundlers section on Axiom, and it shows you a two-sided thing on, basically gives you two options to choose from, or you could compare them and just kind of get your own idea. Now it's super important to see the holders right here, that they actually have Solana in their wallets. Because if you were to bundle a coin with 10 Sol and send it to 10 different wallets, after you buy the coins on those 10 different wallets, they would have like a couple dollars, right? 0.01 Sol or something like that, which shows that it's a little bit sketchy. So another way I like to look at these new wallets is if you go to Padre, this trading platform, you go to Trenches, and let's just click on the same coin. If you look on the holders, these leafs, for example, this holder right here, they had 0 Sol in this address. So this wallet was it's basically 4 hours old. So someone made a, you know, it was a little bit sketchy. The wallet is 4 hours old, which is probably a new wallet for a bundle. So you need to be watching out for things like that, and super important to look at the holders and the people that are in the coin, because that's going to show how the coin's going to be moving in the future, right? You cannot predict the future, but you can get an understanding of what the coin could possibly do. Now, it looks like it's probably just a meme of a cow or something, or a bull. So maybe keep an eye on it. It's just the chart from the beginning looks very questionable. Now, you could also look at the top traders. Are a lot of these top traders snipers? You want to look at these people. And also, one that's very important is look at the transactions. So if the buy transactions look very weird, we could even look at a new pair. So let's look at this coin right here. If the buys look really weird, if people are buying, like say you have, like say my options are 0.1, 0.5, 1, and 2. That's what most people do, right? They'll do with 0.1 buys, they'll do 0.5, 0.25, 0.75, 0.1. If people are buying with 0.634, or people are buying with 2.34 or some weird amounts, then it's a bundle. You know, or people, they're trying to bundle the coin without it, with trying to make it look real, but in reality, they're just making it look weird. So super important to check the holders. You need to go through like a whole check of the whole entire coin, right? Now, as you get better and better, this is going to be super fast. It's going to take like 3-4 seconds to just go through all this stuff. But it's going to basically set you apart from most people, because most people just blind buy everything and they don't know what they're doing, and they're just gambling, and they're going to lose all their money. They're going to be like, hey, you know, meme coins are scam, you know, meme coins aren't profitable, but they're just gambling in reality. So if you can develop an actual real strategy, then you can make a ton of money, right? There was like a study done like a couple weeks ago, 2% or less than 2% of pump fund traders have made over $1,000, and 98% of them have lost money. So pretty bad statistic, but the people that are in the less than 2%, you know, 1% are making lots of money, right? They're extracting. So you want to be an extractor. You don't want to be the one that's getting extracted, right? So for looking for coins, now we're going to be looking at charts after we've seen holders, right? So you probably don't want to buy in a coin. This is why I like sitting on final stretch. You're going to need filters. So if you need filters, I broke down the filters in a previous video. I'll break them down really quick again. For the new pairs, you can go raw dog on this, or maybe 8K. And then for the rest, for final stretch, I do max age is 30 minutes, because I don't want to see coins that are sitting there for 3 hours that are just dead and they're not going to migrate. And then top 10 holders, 50% for snipers, dev holding 50%. And this basically just gets rid of the obvious scam coins. So it just takes up extra space, and you're going to have more space to see actual potential runners, right? So let's go back to this coin that I was looking at. Now, you never, ever want to top blast into anything, no matter what it is, unless it's something that is insane, right? That is obviously going to be going crazy. You need to have control, like I said. You need to have discipline in what you're trading, and you have to have discipline in yourself. You cannot FOMO, because you're going to get wrecked 9 out of 10 times. Maybe one time you'll get lucky, but 9 out of 10 times you're going to get absolutely wrecked. So for entries, it depends, right? So let's say the neurodiversity index looks like it's a community coin talking about neurodiversity. So let's see, latest 9 members in the community. Last post was 54 seconds ago. So it's not super active, it's not super big, but it might have some potential, right? So the thing that you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be buying on times of consolidation, right? When it just ran up all the way from 10K all the way to 20K and it's consolidating. You need to look for entries, right? Now, the entries, it could always fall lower, right? I'm not saying you have to run some crazy technical analysis on meme coins, but you need to understand what psychological zones are and where things are likely to bounce off of, you know, after people panic sell. So one would be right here. A possible entry would be here at 15K, right? Or an even better one would be at 10K, right? Because you see it's supported right here at 10K. So you need to make a rule that you're not going to buy this coin unless you get an entry that's nice, right? Because right now it's just chopping like this. It might go up a little bit, it might go down, and it might start downtrending like this until it starts getting a real panic sell, right? So once it has those really fat panic sells where these top holders on the top 5, top 10 lists start chipping out or full clipping, right? Like 4 or 5 SOL at a time, 3 SOL at a time. Like you could see it's slowly going down now. Then that's when you start looking to get into an entry, right? It's doing exactly what I just said. Now it could go lower, it could go a little bit higher, or it could just consolidate, right? You need to have a really fat sell in order to find an entry. We could look at some of the coins I've traded before as an example. Let's go to here and let's look at this coin right here. All right, well, this chart's not looking, it's not loading, so let me look. We'll do this one right here. Well, it looks like none of my charts want to load my P&L, but let's see. Basically, you need to find coins, you need to find entries, and you need to, like, for example, this guy sold, so it went all the way down to 17, which it could be an all right entry, but you need to like stick with your principles and stick with your strategy. I know there's a lot of lines and scribbles on the screen, which don't really mean anything, right? Because you never know how the coin's gonna go. But you need, in order to get in the coin, you have to have a set of rules. You can't just buy a coin just because it looks good, because most of the time you're just gonna get wrecked, right? You think it looks good and it's really not that good, and you just became top exit liquidity. So if you look for an entry, right, technically this has just kind of been consolidating. If you get a real dump, you know, and it's just for a reason of people being scared. If it's a FUD dump, right, let's say the dev is a scammer or whatever happens, and it's probably just going to go to 0 and nuke. So you need to find an actual entry, and let's say it were to go to 15, right? You buy in with 1 SOL, and you want to be the start of the buying pressure. You don't want to be the top of it, right? So you don't want to be like, oh, it just hit 24K, I'm going to top blast right here. And then someone that was in here, they're going to sell on top of you. You're not going to get this perfect, right? Things always change, but you need to have like a set strategy or set, you know, stuck principles. Right now, this thing is consolidating too, right? If you're able to find like a really good entry, always get in on an entry. Never top blast, never FOMO into anything, but you need to obviously get into coins that are not scams, right? The dev did some weird stuff to this coin, so, you know, obviously it might be a scam. So you need to find an actual coin. You could even look for community coins, which are what's kind of meta right now, right? And find the ones that have motion, people behind them, people saying that they're going to pay DEX, something that's bullish, right? And then you wait in order for the trade to come to you. You wait for the entry to come, and then you buy, right? And then depending on what your risk tolerance is, right, you can hold it really long, or you can hold it relatively short. So you could scout for 20-30% really quick, get in and out, move on to the next coin. Or you could hold the coin, wait for a potential 2 to 3x, but risk round tripping your whole bag. So there's 2 different parts of that strategy, right? And I've done both. So the ones where I've held have led to like my best P&Ls, but a lot of the time, like 9 out of 10 times, I end up round tripping. So it's super important to just take your profits, especially in the market right now. I think it's, you know, it's really this super GD right now, and you need to find coins, get in and out really quick. So that kind of breaks down a simple version of looking for entries. Now exits, you know, for example, look at what this coin did. It went from all the way from 20 all the way down to 12. Now it doesn't have to exactly hit like 20 or 15 or 10 or 30 or 40K, right? Like all these numbers. But if it has a crazy, crazy panic sell like this, right? Where you're like, why did people just sell that much? Then what you're going to be doing is with your buy, it's going to be, causing some buying pressure. So if you see this ran up like this, right? Where would you want it to go back down to in order to find an entry? Well, look at this. This was its support right here. And it bounced perfectly off the support. Now, let's say you entered in here and the coin wasn't doing anything. It was chopping and it's starting to go down, then you get out. Because if you hold and there's no volume, there's no buying pressure, you were the only buying pressure, then people are gonna get scared again, and it's gonna have the same thing. What happened here is gonna happen again. So the good thing is if you have a bigger balance of SOL, then you can cause a bigger candle, which gets people wanting to FOMO back in again, right? It's like a domino effect. So when you buy, there's more buy pressure coming in and it starts pushing the price back up, and then you could just sell, right? But if you're going to be selling for 5-10%, then you probably shouldn't be trading, because you need to find, unless you're going to be breaking even, right? But I'm saying if your strategy is only looking for 10%, 5%, then what you're risking is not really, you're risking more than you're able to make with your strategy. So you need to be okay with losing a little bit, because sometimes you're not always going to be right, but you need to analyze all your losing trades. So super, super, super important. Now, this coin's obviously getting a little bit more volume, but like, just don't top blast, right? For example, 23K all the way to 20, I don't think that was an entry. You need to wait for like an actual panic sell like this. Because sure, that might have been an entry in that moment, but for most other coins, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to have a stuck, in a real strategy that's actually going to work. Not one that you're messing around with and trying. It needs to be consistent, and there's always going to be more coins that are being made. So you don't have to be, stuck and FOMOing onto all these coins. But super, super, super important. I can't stress this enough. Always look for an entry. Like, for example, this would have been a perfect entry right here. And if you had the guts to hold it, you could have held it all the way up until 24K. Or you could have just scalped it right here and scalped it up to 16K, right? Or 17K, and just take, your 50%, 40%, and then move on to the next one, because there's always going to be another coin. But yeah, I hope this helped you guys. This was basically a, brief breakdown on, my strategy, how I get in coins, how I get out of coins. And yeah, so thank you for watching.